And welcome back to New York Sports Wicker Media with Wat2K99. I'm very happy that you're taking the time to watch this video. So we're going to talk a little bit about the New York Rangers. And the first day of free agency has drawn to a close. And it's been a very interesting day for the Rangers. It's a pretty typical reaction from the fan base. Half of it seems thrilled and half of it seems miserable. One thing that the Rangers fans can't even agree on where to have lunch, let alone on if they like a player move or not. Okay, so the big story of today is the Rangers immediately signed Vincent Trocheck to a 7-year contract, average of $5.625 million per year. The Rangers no doubt needed a number 2 center. This was a commonly known need. The Rangers have a lack of depth up the middle, and Trocheck is going to help fill that. 7 years for a player who's currently 29 is a long time, but the Rangers do have both Mika Zibanejad and Vinny Trocheck under contract through the year 2029. So they're establishing that depth. Now, 7 years to me is a very long time. The vibe that I'm getting is that to get the AAV lower, they had to give him the extra year. So if that's the price that you got to pay down the road, you do it. I think this might be a situation where the Rangers buy out Trocheck with maybe a year or two to go on that contract. Hopefully, he can give them 5 good years as that very good all-around center that he's been for the Florida Panthers and for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's won the majority of his faceoffs in his career, something that no other Rangers center can claim. But he hits, he blocks shots, he can score a goal, he can kill a penalty. He could definitely thrive on the power play. I think he's going to take that spot on the first Rangers power play that Ryan Strome used to occupy. So definitely count on Trocheck amassing a lot of power play points, not just next year, but in the years beyond. And in the playoffs with Carolina this past year, he scored in goals 5, 6, and 7. So he knows how to deliver in the playoffs. That's something that I definitely find encouraging. Here's another big fit. Gerard Gallant has coached him before. Gallant knows him. And Chris Drury would not have pursued Vinny Trocheck if Gerard Gallant did not give his blessing. So that is something that excites me as well. It is pretty apparent that the Rangers are going to lose pretty much every player that they brought in from the trade deadline. You knew Justin Braun wasn't going to stay. They have enough depth on defense. Andrew Kopp, the Rangers never even made him an offer. But ironically, he signed with Detroit for 5 years at the exact same annual value that Vinny Trocheck is going to get, $5.625 million a year. I think he'll be a great fit over there. I wish Andrew Kopp well. It hurts that you gave up as much as you had to give up for him, a first, a second. But, it feels like it was worth it to get to the conference finals. I think it would have felt that much more worth it if they had beaten Tampa Bay, even if they had lost in the finals against Colorado. I could have handled it a little bit better than I'm feeling about it right now. It feels a little bittersweet inside for me. Frank Vatrano on his way to the Anaheim Ducks. He gets a nice pay raise, $3.6 million per year. Thank you, Frankie D. See you later. Ryan Strome, he hasn't signed yet, but I have a feeling he will by the end of the week. Tyler Mott is a very interesting subject to me. He has not signed a contract yet, but Chris Drury was interviewed today by the media, and he felt it was going to be tight, a very difficult fit to keep Tyler Mott. To me, to keep a 27-year-old player who really brings amazing depth to the bottom four, gave amazing effort while he played. He missed a good portion of the regular season with the Rangers and part of the playoffs due to injuries. To me, though, when he was on the ice, you noticed him. And I can't say that about every Ranger player, especially as the playoffs started to wind down, the Eastern Conference Finals. So, to me, I would really like to see if they could come up with a way to keep him. I don't know if it's possible. And even if they did, they would suddenly become a lot more vulnerable to another team making an offer sheet to a Capo Caco, or next year to a Keandre Miller or somebody like that. And those are players they cannot afford to lose. So tough as it is to likely lose Mott, I guess it's the price that you have to pay. The Rangers are now a lot more top heavy than they were even before. So now Chris Drury has to find some depth. I can't watch Dryden Hunt being penciled in for 82 games next season. They have to have more depth at forward. Whether that's bringing up one of the kids, a Will Cooley. I don't know about a Brennan Othman. To me, if you bring Othman up, who's pretty much their top prospect at this point. You want to be able to give him some playing time. You don't want him getting 8-9 minutes a game on the fourth line. Maybe Johnny Brodzinski gets a little more playing time this season. But to me, I would like to see Mott back on this team if they can make it work. I think Sammy Blais is sort of the wild card on the Rangers that not a lot of people are thinking about, but he will be back from his torn ACL. It'll be interesting to see how he fits in on this team next year. Rangers did make a couple of other moves. Patrick Nemeth has been traded to the Arizona Coyotes. The Rangers traded Nemeth, a second-round pick, and a conditional pick to the anemic Arizona Coyotes. I hope Nemeth enjoys playing in front of about 400 people for his home games and in an arena that holds about 1,000. That actually includes popcorn vendors as well. So in return, the Rangers got Ty Emberson, who's just a depth defenseman. He's probably not going to get past Hartford. If he's playing on the Rangers next year, something is wrong. Last year, he posted 11 games and 58 points for the Tucson Roadrunners. So this was about a salary dump. The Rangers had that extra salary cap space, and with it, they went ahead and signed Jaroslav Halak. They have a new backup goalie. Halak has played with the Habs, the Blues, the Islanders, and he's been a very good starter. He's been known as a Ranger killer in 35 career games against the Rangers. Check this out. He's 24-9-2 with a save percentage of .927, a goals against of 2.33, and 5 shutouts. So he's been a Rangers killer before. I hope he is not going to be a Rangers killer while he is wearing the Rangers sweater. And last year he also played with the Bruins and the Canucks. That's where he really started to settle into a backup role. Last year with the Canucks, he appeared in 17 games, went 4-7-2 with goals against of 2.94, save percentage of .903. And the year before with Boston, made 19 appearances, went 9-6-4, pretty similar numbers. 2.53 goals against, a little bit better, and a .905 save percentage. So if you have to play Halak about 20 games a year, that's something that I'm fine with. Thomas Greiss turned out to not be available. David Riddick wasn't available as well. They both signed with other teams. Who's another one? Braden Holtby looks like he's going to have to retire due to injuries. That's who I would really like to have brought in, but the injuries have caught up with him, and now it just doesn't make much sense. They also signed, you know what, I guess New York City's got some pretty good spicy pork and broccoli after all, because Louis Domingue, the Penguins' third-string goalie, signed with the Rangers. How about that? So, again, this is probably just more Hartford depth. I don't see any situation. He's basically taking Keith Kincaid's job. That's about all that's going to be. So, right now, the only thing I really want to see the Rangers do is get just a little bit more depth at forward. I wonder about the penalty kill on this team. Now that the Rangers have lost Kevin Rooney, they're likely going to lose Tyler Mott. They've lost Andrew Copp. The depth at penalty kill is going to be compromised a little bit. So will it be Blais? Will it be Trocheck? Who's it going to be? Goodrow? I guess Goodrow's going to have to be a primary penalty killer going forward. Let's see what happens. But definitely one or two more pieces at forward, even if they're two-way contracts. We didn't even know a couple years ago who Kevin Rooney and Colin Blackwell were. We maybe heard their names in passing, but you had to be a pretty diehard hockey fan to know who these guys were, and they both turned out to be very good players. The Rangers have to do the same thing now. I may not have heard of the player, but as long as he can fill the role that the Rangers need him to fill, who am I to knock him? So that's my thoughts on the Rangers right now. By the way, I have to say I find it just amazing that for the last couple of days, Johnny Gaudreau, maybe the hottest free agent on the market, it was confirmed he was going to leave Calgary, and there were really 3 teams involved: Philadelphia Flyers, the New York Islanders, and the New Jersey Devils. Well, the Flyers confirmed earlier today they had no cap space, not unless they could trade James Van Riemsdyk. That did not happen. And so, other than that, then I heard the Devils were pulling ahead and the Islanders had to up their game. And, my friends who are Islander fans were freaking out. It's like, what is Lou doing? Why can't we get a goal scorer? We lost out on Panarin to the Rangers. Max Pacioretty was traded to Calgary for nothing. What do we do? We got to get Gaudreau. Now, Johnny Gaudreau, he is not going to the UBS Arena. He is not going to be playing at the Prudential Center. No, rather, I guess he has come to the conclusion that Nationwide is on his side. He has signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets, $9.5 million a season. He left $1 million on the table per year at Calgary. Calgary was offering him $10.5 million a year. Gaudreau said, "No, thank you. I'm from the East Coast, but I don't think I want to be a Devil or an Islander or a Flyer. No, let's go to Columbus, Ohio, the great hockey tradition town that we all know that it is." So I kind of need a reason sometimes for the Devils and Islanders fans to hate each other. I feel like they don't really mind each other. They just want to hate on the Rangers. So I was hoping maybe this would develop a little hatred between the two teams. But rather, I guess they could both be ticked off at Gaudreau and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that's my thoughts right now as far as the Rangers go. And let's spend a couple of minutes here on the Mets. I did it before, and I'm going to do it again. Oh, no. Delete! The Atlanta Braves could not beat the apparently overmatched and just incompetent and inferior New York Mets. The New York Mets missing Starling Marte, Jeff McNeil, James McCann, having the worst bullpen this side of a beer league. And still, the New York Rangers spanked them today. 7-3. The Mets beat the Braves at their own game, and that just made it even that much more beautiful. Eduardo Escobar, home run. Francisco Lindor, 3-run homer. Mark did not hit a can of corn. No, he hit a can out of there. A home run by him as well. So it felt great to see the Mets knock a few balls out of Truist Park. It was so sweet. And I'll tell you another thing that people haven't talked about. People talk a lot about hitting, about power, about speed. They talk about starting pitching. They talk about bullpens. You know what too many average baseball fans do not spend time thinking about? Is defense. As a Mets fan, I have seen this for years. The Mets constantly played poor defense, especially up the middle, for a long time. And in this series, the Braves showed their vulnerability on defense. Whether it was Ronald Acuna letting the ball go under his glove that turned into a triple for Lindor. Matt Olson not being able to field balls cleanly. Who's supposedly a very good defensive first baseman. Well, he sure didn't show it in this game. And so, this is a big deal because the Braves are an all-or-nothing team. Home run, strikeout, but I'll tell you what, if you're going to be that kind of a team, you also have to be good in the field fundamentally. And they have not shown that they are that team. Now, this is something we would expect the Philadelphia Phillies to do, right? The Phillies are known for a bad bullpen and making dumb defensive decisions. Well, the Braves have a pretty good bullpen. I will respect them there. But that defense, to me, it's going to cost them a couple of games this year, especially against good teams. And the Mets showed them what fundamental defense can do and what a difference it makes. Guys like Luis Guillorme, we've seen what he does. Dominic Smith, when he plays first base, as disappointing as his bat has been, he could do it. Brandon Nimmo has transformed himself into an excellent everyday center fielder. Oh, by the way, if anybody from the Mets is actually watching this, as if they actually would, if anybody from the Mets is watching this, why can't we order a Brandon Nimmo jersey online? Why are we not embracing Brandon Nimmo and the turnaround he's had? Let me find the Nimmo jersey. I'll tell you this right now, and I'm making a promise. The most recent jersey I brought from the Mets is a Noah Syndergaard jersey. I can't say I'm proud of it now. So I know Scott Boras is his agent, okay? But as soon as the New York Mets re-sign Brandon Nimmo to a contract, because he's a free agent after the season, I will buy the jersey. That is a vow. I love the speed guys. I love the leadoff guys because that's what I always was when I was growing up playing baseball. And I think Nimmo was one of those players where you don't really appreciate him until he's not there anymore. And I think Mets fans do appreciate him, but he's still kind of a secret in baseball. He's still a player nobody knows about. So I think maybe a little like Daniel Murphy. Maybe Nimmo's got a little bit of that Murphy in where he's silently good, just steadily building it up. We see the tools, but then Murphy had that infamous October 2015 where he just took everything over. Of course, then he left. Maybe Nimmo is bound to have an October like that. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that he could just take games over, not necessarily hitting home runs in 6 consecutive games, but hitting those gaps up the middle, making a couple of trademark defensive plays that you'll see on the highlight shows for days on end afterwards. And then he's a guy that the Mets have to keep. There's really no other player I feel that can replace him. Alex Ramirez looks like a very good prospect, but I don't believe he really projects as a center fielder. Nimmo and Diaz are the two guys you have to keep. I want to keep DeGrom. I want to keep McNeil. I want to keep a lot of these starting pitchers, but not everybody is going to stay. But I feel like not in terms of who the best players are, but who the most irreplaceable players are. That's what I'm talking about. And to me, it's Edwin Diaz, Brandon Nimmo. Those are the two guys. And now the Mets head to my old stomping ground, Chicago, Illinois, 20 years. That I lived in that what used to be a pretty nice area. It breaks my heart that I won't be able to be at Wrigley Field and, just chanting, "Fly the L, fly the L." There was no love lost with myself and Chicago Cub fans. So, but the 4-game series is going to be very exciting. I look forward to the Mets hopefully facing Marcus Stroman in this series. It's a shame the Cubs DFA Jonathan VR already, because that would have been fun to watch too. So 4 games left, then it's the All-Star break. It's going to be a heck of a series, and a heck of a second half of the season. But I'll tell you what, the Mets had to make a statement against the Atlanta Braves and against all the critics. And when I say the critics, I mean a lot of people in this fan base. I was very worried. I just wanted 2 games. That's exactly what they did. They did it shorthanded. They did it in Atlanta. And now the Braves know that the Mets are for real and that they can't just bully bad teams into winning this division. Because guess what? The Mets are good. This ain't no Luis Rojas or Mickey Callaway managed team. And on that note, I am back in the wicker chair. It feels good to be home. And I will talk to you next time. Take care, guys.